penultimate, you have a vocabulary. Penultimate talk, Diana Porter, and we're good to go.
Potter.
Potter, I'm so sorry.
Hi everybody, my name is Diana Porter. I'm here to talk to you about screencasting. So a little bit of background about me. I work in the support space. So my job is to make sure that customers get the right information, that they understand how things work. Basically that. But first, a confession. I'm a writer, which is kind of shocking in this audience. I know, no one else says. But I don't like watching videos myself. Personally, I would prefer written documentation. I want to get to the point. I want to read it. I'm done. However, I'm in the minority. The vast majority of people out there, about 90%, are auditory or visual learners. That means that my sea of written text, even if they have screenshots, is not necessarily the best way for everyone to learn. So in some circumstances, in a lot of circumstances, videos are better. And even though I'm a writer and I prefer to write, I kind of had to face this, and I had to learn how to create screencasts. So that's what I want to talk about. So to get started, what are you going to need to create a screencast? You're going to need a good idea, I know. I generally suggest starting with, say, how-tos, walkthroughs, something where you're taking action rather than trying to describe something. Trying to describe a feature makes no sense in a video. Who wants to watch that? You need a decent microphone. You don't want to go crazy. My microphone was like $60 US, but it's fancy looking and it sounds really good, which is what matters. You're going to need some kind of editor. I personally use ScreenFlow. There are quite a lot of different editors that you can use to film video, audio, edit it all together. I have a resource slide at the end, and I'm going to share my slides so everyone can see some different options. And a quiet room. Don't try and film audio or record audio with a sea of people around you talking. And then just some time. So, to get started, you're going to write your script. There is still writing involved. In fact, this is probably the best part. So when you're writing your script, you want to sit down. I start out with an outline, same way I do any other written documentation. And then I start filling it in. I want to be conversational. I don't want to lecture people. I might be doing a video for hundreds of thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, but you don't want it to come across that way. You want it to come across as though you're sitting next to them and you're just walking them through how to do something. It should be conversational, it should be personal. You want to tell a story. So even if you're just trying to describe how a feature is going to work, you want to put it in the frame of mind of, this is how you do it in this specific scenario. You want to sit down and maybe don't start with once upon a time, but you do want to make it into a story. You want to make it engaging, you want to make it personal. You want to give good directions, but you don't want to get too specific. So in your script and in your audio, you want to direct how things should be done, but don't say, click on this button with this exact text. The reason is that videos are a lot of work, and as anyone working with software knows, your UI text changes, and you don't particularly want to have to re-record everything because the button was renamed. Easter eggs are fun. So when you're writing your script, it's fun to work in little references. I like to say that, this person's doing something, like, and now I'm going to have Jon Snow do this. And just tiny little references to TV shows or movies tends to go over pretty well, and it just makes the writing process more fun. It's like, how can you come up with a scenario where Jon Snow would be using your software? Go. Once you've got your script, you want to record your audio. So this is my setup. Before I'm recording my audio, I'm generally doing like a couple of run-throughs of my script. I don't edit until I'm recording though. So I start off with my lovely little mic, my headphones. That is the totality of my setup. As you can see, my desk is really cluttered. If you are more of the minimalistic type and there's nothing around you when you're recording, you're probably going to get a lot of echo or just that sound of you're talking in a really empty room. A really quick fix for that is take like a folder or a piece of paper, put a towel over it, put it around your mic. All of a sudden you get that warm, you're in a small room kind of sound. So you don't have to go to all that effort of putting a bunch of junk on your desk. But another thing about my setup, and it's kind of tough to see, but don't want to skip ahead. So I have little markings on my desk. I took a lot of time to kind of get my microphone in just the right position. For me, it's kind of down like this. When I speak into it, I'm not popping my P's and lisping and everything. It takes a little bit of trial and error to get that. And then I keep it in the exact same spot on my desk all the time, which is why I have little markings on my desk. So I always know where it needs to go, and that way, no matter what audio I'm doing, it always sounds the same. Once you're ready, just do it. Don't overthink it, just hit record and start recording. Again, since I don't really edit my script before I get to the recording process, I'm generally going back and like stumbling over words and thinking, okay, I'm not gonna say that, I'm going to rewrite it. It's really important to actually edit your written script when you're doing that though. If you're going to add captions to your video, having a written recording of everything that you just said saves you so much time. So, just record. If you mess up, just keep going. So if you've stumbled over a line, just go back to the beginning of the line and record it again. If you completely lose your flow, maybe go back to the beginning of a paragraph and record it again. You're going to fix it in post, and it's so much fun getting to say that. It's like, fix it in post. This is the fixing it in post part. So this is what my editor generally looks like when I'm editing audio. Initially, that little timeline is going to be one long string. This is me cutting something, fixing little errors. I found that when I'm recording audio, I sigh really loudly, just at random points. So I have learned to just nip that little tiny little bit out and keep going. So I will go through that whole process repeatedly until I can listen to my entire audio, and it just sounds like someone telling a story. I can close my eyes and I can visualize what's happening in the software. As soon as I'm at that point, I'm on to my video. So, video prep. Again, because I keep my mic in the same thing, I keep my browser in the exact same position. I use a little extension. I don't know how easy that is to see, but I use it to save the exact window size. I get rid of all of the stuff up at the top, you know, my bookmarks and my address bar, and I just keep it consistent. If I'm always recording consistently, I can go in and re-record 5 seconds and replace something that's updated. If I have a different setup every time, I can't do that, I have to start over. It takes way too long. So you set all of that up, the headphones in my setup, I put those on, I listen to my audio. I give myself about a 10-second buffer, so I play for 10 seconds, and then I dive into the actual recording. That way I can get on, you know, on the right page and everything else. My editor gives me a 5-second countdown. I don't consider that good enough. I like to be able to sit, know that I'm going, that I'm ready. And the exact same thing with the audio. If you mess up, it's fine. Just keep going. I'm always typing in mine. I'll make a typo. Just delete what you've written, rewrite it, and again, fix it in post. This is the overall fixing it. So you've recorded all of your video, and then you get into the more crazy moments. So in my case, all of my videos start with a little bumper. This one I had to work with the designer to create, but I always suggest having some kind of branding. So ours starts off with our happy little mascot waving, and then it goes into the logo, and then it goes into the title of my video. So every video has that consistent opening. It also sets the tone of, this is our company's branding. So again, that used to be one long string of video. I had to cut out, you know, typos. In my editor, I can kind of speed things up if I need to, or slow them down, because you want it to consistently match up with the audio. You want to keep listening to it. It generally takes me a couple of hours to get to the point where my video actually follows along with my audio perfectly, even though I was listening to my audio the whole time that I was going through it. And then you have your video. How do you keep it all up to date? So again, things change in software. One of these videos can take an entire day worth of work. You can't just go in and change a little bit of text like you can in a document. You can't swap out a screenshot. You have to either redo the video, or you have to keep that standard setup. You have to make sure that your browser is always the right size. You have to make sure that your mic always sounds the same, so that you're talking consistently in a nice, pleasing tone. And whenever you want to re-record a new sentence, you can just do it and replace it. You also want to kind of componentize your script and your video and everything. You want to go section by section. So you can just re-record one section. You can delete it, and you can move on. And I am running really quickly because that is the end. I think I talked a little bit fast.